Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going today? Happy Monday. I know that we're very zoomed in, but I'll fix that in just a second. I'm actually going to use that. And so, how's it going, Dad? I know you just woke up, but did you at least get caught up on a little bit of your sleep?
Yeah, because I got sick the other day, and basically I didn't sleep the whole night. I stayed up, and then I went to work early on Sunday, and I worked, and I came home, and I just haven't been sleeping much, and but I've been feeling bad. So I got home. I left early today and got home, and I went to bed. What's up, Tim?
What's up, Tim? It's nice to see you, and also Puppet Master, who I did say hello to, but it's nice to see you as well. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're moving in the right direction. I've been feeling pretty bad this week, but I think once I slept all day yesterday or the day before, I felt a lot better.
Ugh. Yeah, I've just I'm in a room by myself, so no matter when I cough, it's not like I'm going to cough anybody or infect anybody with anything. So, you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so diving into NFL Week 13. I feel like this went just about as crazy as I thought, but almost not, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean there was a few upsets, a few surprises, a few things that went exactly how I wanted him to go. But all in all, I just feel like it was a weird but good week. For Cincinnati, no, but like everybody else, it was okay. But I'll start with our first game on the 1 o'clock spread, which I want to get down and through, but I still have a lot of good things to say about it. Is the Bucks went to Atlanta. They came away with the win. You did take the Bucks. Obviously, I took Atlanta, and this is where I say there was good in this. I mean, the Atlanta ended the second quarter going into the half with a pick six on Brady to basically make it a one-score, real close game. What's up, Nathan? What's up, Gary? What's up, Shelby? But like I told you, I should take the Bucks, but also that the Bucks should win by 40. Like realistically, the Bucks should win by 40. And until the end of the game, that was not going to happen. And so I knew that the Bucks would win this game. Like I knew that, and I was willing to take the L for picking Atlanta. But I think Atlanta didn't look as bad as everyone thought they were going to.
Oh, I don't think they looked bad at all. I was just I'm still of the opinion that with their current roster structure and the way that it's set up, that they did not possess enough offense to even really stay in that game.
I
And
just
they
got
really,
one word for, like as long as they keep him around, but Cordell Patterson, man, like he's basically their whole offense.
and he's restructuring the way wide receiver turns into running back now. Now other teams are copycatting what he's been doing with Debo Samuel at San Francisco.
I mean, Debo Samuel's done an incredible job. I mean, he didn't play this weekend, so we're not really going to talk a lot about him. But that position, whatever you want to call that position, because I can't call him a kick returner, I can't call him a wide receiver, I can't call him a running back. He's just a unique type of player. He does it all. He's Taysom Hill. That's what
I mean,
Taysom
his
Hill
career
is.
was almost over. I mean, really, he was down to returning punts and being a third down, fourth wide receiver option on teams. And now Atlanta picked him up with their obvious woes. He was cheap, and now they've found a way to restructure his career and use his speed and athleticism and really without him on that team, they may only have 2 wins this year.
Yeah, I mean, I have their schedule and I don't remember exactly. Actually, I'll tell you exactly. But I had Atlanta I had Atlanta having 6 wins this season. So I mean, a little bit more than 2, but still, Atlanta fans are upset and they're hurt, and they have been since that Super Bowl. Like it's just, you know, But there's a lot of good coming from Atlanta surrounding that team with the Braves and the Bulldogs, and if there's any other Georgia teams that I've missed. But I just feel like this loss was not a loss. Like it is in the loss column, but the fact that they turned it around compared to the first time they played Tampa Bay this season and just got hammered. Like Tom Brady's undefeated against the Falcons. It was basically he's going to win this game. It doesn't matter. So I feel like Falcon fans, you shouldn't hang your head on this one because you played a really good game, and I was very impressed until like this to the end. They just couldn't close games, and which is why they lost that Super Bowl. But I just feel like this was an actual game. It was a decent game, a fun game to watch. It was worth watching, and that goes to show that Atlanta fans don't even want to watch their team play because of how horrible they can be. But you take it as a win because you could actually enjoy watching this game as a whole football game, pretty much.
Yeah, and Atlanta's season's in full rebuild anyway. They weren't expected to really even compete this year with a new coach, new structure. It is what it is for them. They've just got to have a little patience. They've got the makings of a winning program. I mean, I really feel like that they will compete next year.
I do too, and I mean, that's kind of where that entire division, other than Tampa Bay, is at right now. And we'll get to all of those in a little bit, for the most part. But I'll go ahead and jump to the second game, which we both got correct. We took Arizona. Kyler Murray's back. DeAndre Hopkins back. What? Okay, I just have one thing to say about this game specifically. They were on 4th and 2. They were about 30 yards from the goal. You go for it. Okay, that's fine. But what team do you know on 4th and 2 throws a 30-yard go route down the seam? Like
Ben Roethlisberger?
Yeah, but he doesn't always connect. But Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, 4th and 2 into the end zone, 32, 33 yards. Like, not a lot of teams are going to do that, especially you wouldn't think someone like Kyler Murray, being as small as he is, and no judgment because I'm all about the small guys in the NFL. But, that's just an insane play to me.
Yeah,
but I was baffled. I was like, heck yeah, man. I'm glad to see both of you guys back. I think Kyler's still banged up, but you saw his mobility in this game. He's not hurting that bad.
No, I mean, look, he came in this game. He did exactly what he needed to do. He went 11 for 15, 2 TDs with a QBR of 136.
He barely had to throw.
Yeah, I mean, and, James Conner played, controlling runs. Kyler Murray's running game is phenomenal.
Also, thanks for stopping in, Gary. We do definitely both appreciate it. But we'll
see you tonight, Gary.
Later. Absolutely. And another play that I wanted to point out, I know we haven't really even talked about the Bears in this game, but this pass to James Conner, he throws it. James Conner's not even looking. He turns around like this, one hand, brings it in, and goes. Like, James Conner, at the beginning of the season, I was like, he has literally no value to that team. Like, I was saying that. But even with Colt McCoy out or playing and everything, he has been so important to that team. Yeah. Especially these last few weeks when they're battling with injuries. He's been that guy that stepped up and was like, he's been like Joe Mixon to the Bengals. He's like, I'll put this team on my back when you guys need me right now. And like I said, preseason, I was like, they picked him up, but that doesn't change my opinion on how their season's going to go. Like, he's irrelevant to me.
Yeah, you're right. There's some value there. Cliff Kingsbury saw value not in what he did at Pittsburgh, but what he possessed in ability and structure and what he could bring to that team. He doesn't always fit into that scheme really well, but he is that type of back. I was trying to think somebody to compare him to that can solidify your running game. He's not going to give you drastically high numbers.
I feel like he's Kareem Hunt.
Just a bigger, stronger version, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even going to say a better Kareem Hunt, but the way he's playing with Arizona could possibly that statement be true.
Definitely not a better. I'm trying to, what's the word? There's a word I'm trying to come up for with it, but he is basically fundamentally sound running back. He runs all the plays correctly. He makes the right moves, tucks the ball well. He does everything right.
He's disciplined.
He just never really has been the guy that got the extra yards. He didn't have that extra uncanny ability to sneak through and get 5 extra yards on a run. But he's a good ball player, and he was cheap. It was easy to pick up in free agency.
Yeah, what a steal, honestly. From the production they've got for him, they basically got him for free. You basically got DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, like, free. You know, like, it's just like that trade will always be the worst trade in the history of football, in my opinion. But we don't have to go there. Then another thing I wanted to point out about the Arizona Cardinals is we've got 5 weeks left of the season, and everyone every single day is talking about the playoff picture and the number 1 seed, who's going to take it, this and that. And everyone's saying not the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm like, they are 7-0 on the road, and all 7 games they've won by double digits. Now, if they can come through at home, they've only lost 2 games at home, they lose them at home, but, like, why is that, why are people counting them out? I just don't understand.
I believe everybody's counting them out because they're not the team that everybody is. They're not Dallas. They're not Tampa Bay. There's no hype there. Nobody wanted to pick them guys, even though
McCoy.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wanted. There's no hype there. I mean, honestly, that's just it. Nobody wanted to pick them. They thought they had talent. They had
out, and they're still winning games. Like, I don't feel right counting them out. I don't feel right people saying that. I get angry, and it's not that I'm like a super fan. I'm not biased. But
they're the number 1 seed in the Western Conference or in the NFC, because it's like here's the reason why. Your stars, your 2 biggest name players, set out for 3 weeks, and you maintained and actually improved. You only lost 1 of those games that they were out. Now, in a long season, your stars have had rest, and now they've had a chance to try to heal up, and now they're going to be fresher going forward. So they have a chance to go 15-2.
And then the thing is you have to think about the one of the 2 losses, the one where they had their starters. They won that game. AJ Green just turned the wrong way. They were 1 play away. So they're 1 play away from being 11-1.
They're one signal from the quarterback to the receiver away from being 11-1. Yes.
That's all I have to say. Like, I just feel like this argument doesn't make sense. I feel like this game coming next week, which we obviously will get into on Thursday or whenever we do it, is going to probably shift everybody's opinion based on how it goes. They're going to be playing the Rams at home, but they smoked the Rams in LA. So, the Rams are bouncing back, but, like, after that game, maybe if they, go home and get their butt kicked, I'll be fine with people, like, being like, okay, maybe not the number 1 seed. They're taking that division. There's no doubt about that. And then we didn't talk about the Bears. Andy Dalton gets his start. His first pass of the game was an interception. Like,
yeah, you know what? I mean, I watched his 4 picks in that game. I did not watch the game. I watched his 4 picks, and it's just the way his life has went, honestly.
That's basically the summary of his life, yes. I don't have a whole lot to say about Chicago on that side. I know David Montgomery played. He did all right. I don't know that much about the Chicago side, honestly, of that game.
They played other than the turnovers. They played a winnable football game.
I mean, they ended up figuring it out a little bit towards the second half of the game and started building a comeback. They were just too far behind. They're not a high-scoring offense, and that's why you can't get behind if you want to win if you're the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, they outscored them 15-12 in the second half. I mean, they didn't let them in the end zone in the second half. They played really competitive football the whole way. The turnovers really cost them.
Yeah, you took 4 turnovers away, and what's that score? Look at the points on turnovers for Arizona. Even if they're just 3, those add up. And so, but the next game, which was disheartening to say the least,
I'm going to disagree
LA
with
comes to Cincinnati. And smacks him right on the ass.
I would love to go first on this.
Go ahead.
You know, I watched this game. I did watch it, and I sit there, and the whole time I was sitting here thinking, they started out god awful. Then the second quarter and the third quarter played well. I'm like, okay, they got a chance here. And here's what everybody's forgetting. This team is currently still in the middle of a rebuild. They're ahead of schedule from where everybody thought they would be because not us, but every professional sports announcing crew and gave them a 3 to 5 win season this year, maybe 6. And they've already surpassed everybody's expectations, but they're still inconsistent, and that's what you've got with a young team. You have inconsistency. They may have lost this week, looking ugly, but however,
what's up, Jim?
However, they might come back next week and stomp San Francisco. And then
that's going to be a fun game to talk about when we get there.
But they're ahead of schedule as far as their rebuild goes. And they've got a young coach that hasn't quite figured everything out.
Jim, I did sub to you yesterday. But
Jim Pats lose 1. Hello. But anyway, I think they're ahead of schedule, and I don't really look at these losses as being that bad because, they're probably going to end up with a winning record this year, and I think we've got a lot to look forward to.
Hey, a winning record, despite where they end up in the playoff race, whatever, is more than I gave them. Well, actually, I did give them a winning record, but more than the world expected. So,
yeah, we gave them a 9-8 record.
4 games is a win for this season, and they're already ahead of that. So, even if they lose every game for the rest of the year, I'm not going to be that upset.
Yeah, I just think everybody needs to put it into perspective. Yes, they've got a pretty solid team, but they're still in the middle of a rebuild, and there's going to be inconsistency there. Because if you look how bad their defense was last year, you would not think. I mean, based on just Trey Hendrickson, who had 1 good year, I mean that's really the only super addition that they had to the starting rotation. Everybody else was most everybody else was already there. So I mean, everything's just gotten better. The system's worked out a little bit better. Joe Burrow's got some inconsistencies, but as soon as he gets it all figured out,
too, he like dislocated or broke his pinky on his
throw. You could definitely tell. I mean, that's a man going out there and playing after that because you think, he broke his pinky, that can't be that bad.
Oh yeah, they showed him on the sideline practice throwing, and he threw the ball and just screamed like it hurt so bad, and he still came out there and played another quarter and a half or however much, 2 quarters. But the one concern I have about this game, I'm not concerned so much about the loss because that Chargers team is very inconsistent, but I know that they're capable of doing what they did yesterday. So, once they get their consistency, we'll see a lot more of that from the Chargers and a lot more to worry about. But the thing I was very worried about was Logan Wilson going down and getting carted off to the locker room.
Yeah, I have not watched any. I've not watched any TV today. Heard anything about his injury? I'm not sure where that stands.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any updates on that yet, but that is definitely something they need to keep an eye on because a loss with him is a tremendous loss in my opinion. He has been a huge playmaker for them all season, and so my thoughts on this was. If they hadn't given up 24 unanswered points at the beginning, they would have won this game.
Yeah, and turnovers were really bad in this game as well for both teams, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we had an uncharacteristic Joe Mixon fumble. That never happens. It happens like once or twice a year. And so, that right there. And there were.
I don't even know that I call that a fumble. That I mean, it was like a ghost took the ball out of his hand while he was running. I mean, I don't even know how.
Everything about that was so uncharacteristic. He had a pretty good game other than that.
Justin Herbert put up Justin Herbert type numbers. I expected the Chargers to score in this game fairly well. I mean, I really did. But, the running game on both teams. I
expected this to be closer to the Browns and Chargers game, just with a little more defense played.
Yeah, the running game was inefficient on both teams. Austin Eckler, poor guy, he had 2 very questionable fumbles. They call them fumbles or not. at the end of the day, it was still just an ugly looking game. But the one thing I can say that's really emerged in the last couple of weeks for Cincinnati that everybody should really be paying attention to is this Joe Burrow and T. Higgins relationship. It's
Yeah,
really
so
starting to
I
grow.
love this. I love that you brought that up as well. As this is part of Joe Burrow maturing. He has figured out, okay, everybody's gonna throw everybody on Jamar Chase. Well, I still got a number one pick from last year on the field too. And
Well,
T. Higgins is a big dude.
yes, T. Higgins is that big receiver that
Like
he's
Mike Williams on
Mike.
the
I was going to say he's Mike Williams, but you know what? Look at this. So I watched the defensive structure in that, and the Chargers put the double on Jamar Chase most of the day. So going away from Jamar Chase had 5 receptions, 52 yards, and he had 8 targets. So he had 5 receptions out of 8 targets. But Joe Burrow decides to target T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd 21 times in this game with 14 receptions and well over 200 yards between them. He made the right choices. And that's when you said it just a second ago, that's the start to him maturing as a quarterback.
The one thing that, if you didn't watch this game that I feel was a game changer was one of those 3 incompletions to Jamar Chase was an interception, which was miraculous. It was
that should have been a touchdown.
That was a touchdown or an interception. Actually, it was a touchdown or an incompletion. It was an insane interception. It just got touched 6 times before it got caught. Like, Jamar had that, and, he was straight there. He was in the house. That I feel like that was a for real game changer in this game because that was early.
That was a 14-point swing, too.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because right after that, they hit the long pass to Mike Williams and then go in for the touchdown. But there it is. That was a 14-point swing, and then the Joe Mixon fumble was 14. Was at least a 7-point swing because they were driving. Look, we had just gotten within 2 points. We missed that 2-point conversion. We got the ball back, and we're driving across down the field to take the lead, and then Mixon fumbles the ball, and they run off 17 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think those 2 turnovers were the break in, the straw that broke the camel's back per se. But that Jamar Chase one, I feel like really set the tone. After that they rallied and came back still. But if they would have put up points right there, it wouldn't have been 24-0 at any point in that game.
No, but you know what? That's how the cookie crumbles. We'll have to take the loss and go about it.
Take the loss. We'll suck it up. Baltimore lost this week, so we didn't get hurt too bad. And we'll get to that one. But next, our favorite pick of the week. Detroit wins a game. And Green Bay Packer fans are ecstatic.
and that was the thing is that we're probably the only 2 people in America that picked it.
Nope, we are not the only 2 people in America that picked it. But we were probably pretty close. There's probably like 10 total.
Yeah, I was. I thought Minnesota had pulled it off again, and then I looked up.
Minnesota had pulled it off, but that touchdown right there. That was the Dane Campbell of that team. That was the heart of that team that rallied and fought against a division rival. Look, they might not win any more games. They might win another game or 2. But the fact that one of the games they won was within their division, I feel like is crucial to their mentality.
No, I mean, that's like them winning. Right now, that's their Super Bowl. The tie at Pittsburgh is good. The win at home against a division rival that's competing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, that might be the game that keeps them out. That was a huge game for Minnesota to win. They needed that, and they came in. They were their friendly neighbor homewrecker and destroy the Vikings mentality. I mean, that could be it for the Vikings this year. I'm not counting them out yet because this playoff race is weird. There's 24 teams that are either already in the playoff race or only 1 game away.
Yeah, I mean,
so they're not out, but this could set the tone for the rest of their season. This was a winnable game, a game they should have won. And Jared Goff hits that number 14 St. Brown kid for a late last play of the game touchdown and to win it. He spread the ball out to his tight ends.
Yeah, that was with 4th down at the 11-yard line. It was a 4th and 2.
hit him right in the end zone, only where he could get it because it was down so low that he had to go to the ground. So that the corner or safety, whoever was on him, could not get that ball. It was either he hit it or he dropped it or it hit the ground. One of the three options. Like that, the defender was not getting that ball. This could be the spark. Look, I could sit here and say Detroit may not win another game for the pure fact of draft perspective, because if Dan Campbell's there next year, I think they'll win at least 5.
Oh, for sure.
But I think that game-winning touchdown drive was Dan Campbell, his heart and soul. He put it into each and every one of those guys. And look, I like this Vikings squad. I do. But I'm happy for the Lions because this is what they really needed. They did not need another loss for all their players to just be miserable for another week.
No, they needed something to build upon. And and really, if you look at this game, if you were just to take the stats from the Minnesota Vikings, and if I was to tell you that Kirk Cousins went 30 for 40 for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Alexander Madison put up 90 yards rushing with a touchdown, you would probably say Justin Jefferson had almost 200 yards in receiving. You would feel like playing Detroit, that they dominated this game. But there was a lot of not finishing involved on Minnesota's part in this game. So kudos. I'm glad they got the win. I really am. I'm happy for them. And I love watching teams play spoiler. And Nathan, I'm not feeling very good, buddy. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time in 13 weeks I did not put any money on the Detroit Lions, too. Let's just throw that little fact out there right there. Yeah. I'm not mad about that, but I'm a little salty. Next game of the week, they're coming out of the doghouse because they did what they had to do, and they did exactly what I told them to do. Indy heads to Houston and just treats them like a chew toy.
Yeah. Jump on Jonathan Taylor's back. Let that guy dictate your offense. He's your quarterback. Carson Wentz is just there to throw the ball when it's necessary. I think that's a recipe that they can win in the playoffs, and they can win in the cold if they get there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this game because Houston's hardly a team at the moment. But Tennessee did lose to Houston. So you've got to remember that any 3 of the other teams in that division could lose to Houston at any point in time, which Jacksonville I don't even count. So there's only 2 teams in that division right now. But, they did what they had to do. They fed Jonathan Taylor the ball. That's what he needs. That's what he is there for. He's in the MVP race, in my opinion. He is the MVP right now, in my opinion, because – right now, he's the most important component to that team.
Sure.
I mean, that's about it. So the next game, which was an interesting game to say the least. And also, I've got a fun little stat on that. But the Giants head to Miami. Miami was favored by 6. They get the win.
I thought that was the easiest pick this week.
It was an easy pick, but it was one I wasn't confident in. And Mike Glennon left the game early due to a concussion. Jake Fromm, who I swore up and down was in Buffalo.
He was on their practice squad.
Okay, so they did have him, right? Okay, Not crazy. So he gets in. They've already announced that next week Jake Fromm is probably their starter, which means they're going to be pulling from their practice squad wide receivers if another quarterback gets hurt, because I don't know that they have anybody. But, this game started off 0-0, 0-3. It was nothing for like 2 quarters. You streaming tonight, Monday Night Football? Absolutely. I've already got it up on YouTube, so you'll be able to find it if you go to the page, but I'll be there for sure. I'm ready for this game. We haven't made it to talking about that game tonight, but we'll get there, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, I mean, I did not expect the Giants to win this game, and I feel like the Giants have got the Chargers next week. Now, in my opinion, with Jake Fromm being their starter, I think that's a winnable game for them as well. But I don't expect them to win any games this year for the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. Miami is on a 5-6 game win streak now. And, I know it's 5 or 6. I couldn't remember. People are counting them out still. I'm not. I'm riding that train as far as it goes. I know we had a guy in here last night who was rooting for Denver to win because he's a Miami Dolphins fan, and I understand why. Um, it's something, but he's a Dolphins fan, and so I talked with him a little bit last night. They're definitely still in it. So they can't hang their heads. They should be proud of what they're doing right now in Miami. Next game was a fun one for me. Philly goes to the Jets, and Gardner Minshew gets the start. And he had a literal perfect passer rating or QBR through the first half of that game. It was a fun game, honestly. Look, this Jets team's bad. Don't get me wrong, they're bad. They're not the worst team in football right now, but they're bad. But they're fun to watch. I enjoy watching games they play, whether they win or lose. I think
the
they've
Jets
got a lot of promise, honestly.
The Jets are relying on a rookie quarterback who is probably doing better than what I expected at this point. They have a lot of no-name players, to be fair, and they're building a roster. You know what? It's a rebuild. We'll see how they turn out at the end of the season. Don't really expect a whole lot out of them except for fun games to watch.
They did lose Corey Davis for the season.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I like Gardner Minshew. I really felt like
I hate his mentality, but he makes me laugh, so I like him for that.
I feel like, he is that guy that I feel like Jacksonville should have kept a hold of him for some reason.
I still think that was stupid of them to let him go. I think, and you might think I'm crazy for saying this, or you're going to agree with me completely. I think Gardner Minshew is like Baker Mayfield.
That's a very good comparison.
Like, I see a lot of each other in them. Like, especially their football mentality. They love the game. They want to win. They play hard.
Yeah, you're gonna love me here in a little bit. I got something for you here in a little bit. You're absolutely gonna love me.
I'm already ready. But yeah, I mean, Philly stays alive. They're still in contention right now.
You know what I liked about this game?
Let's hear it.
Philadelphia, huh?
Dallas Goedert.
I love Dallas Goedert. That was what Philadelphia helped the Cardinals, but they also helped themselves.
I mean, like, I understand if they would have kept Ertz. I do. I get it. He's like Ben Roethlisberger to the Steelers, like players that's been there their whole career and mean a lot to that city and whatever. But they helped Arizona. They gave Arizona what they needed, but they only did that to help Dallas Goedert. They wanted him to grow because he's younger.
The cool thing about this game is that, it was 24-18 at halftime, but the Philadelphia defense came out in the second half and locked that game down for them. That's what winning football teams do, and that's why I feel like they still have a really significant chance in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you right now. I'm more. I know Nathan Perez in here is an Eagles fan. I'm more on the Washington side in that division. But if Philly comes up and sneaks and takes Dallas' spot, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not going to be mad at Washington or Philly for either sneaking into the playoffs or sneaking into taking that division. The status on Jalen Hurts is unknown, but they've got a good enough quarterback to win in Gardner Minshew, a guy that's fighting for a job. He doesn't want to settle for second place. He doesn't want to be that guy who is a backup. He's kind of like the Cam Newton situation when he was with New England, and he was like, I want this job. He did everything he could to get another job, and so like you said, I've said, I will always say this for the rest of the season. They messed up in Jacksonville by trading him off for like a draft pick, or I don't know. It wasn't worth much, like a 6th-round draft pick. But they got a steal in Philly to have a guy like that that's got experience, maybe not winning football experience, but it's got experience and a good player to back up your franchise quarterback that you're trying to build around and grow. And you've got the defense. They might need one or two more pieces, but they're a good defense. They're solid. They play hard, and you've got Jalen Hurts, but guys like Jalen Hurts are very similar to guys like Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. They can get hurt, and it happens. And so having Minshew behind him that's a winning football mentality quarterback move, going and getting him.
Well, here's the good thing about that. Nick Sirianni, that's the right guy, right? I get the Miami guy and him confused. Nick Sirianni did a great thing here. He took a team that was in rebuild, right? Trying to structure it around Jalen Hurts. But he also protected themselves in case Jalen wasn't going to be that guy, and got a guy like Gardner Minshew, which I feel like they stole from Jacksonville. They can come in, walk in, and effectively learn your playbook pretty fast because he's a smart quarterback and keep you in the competitive nature of competing for the playoffs. And they're rebuilding and they're competing for the playoffs.
Yeah, the fact that I had them sitting at 5 wins this year. The fact that they're in the playoff race right now is just incredible. And so Eagles fans were upset about losing Wentz. They were upset about the coaching situation. They were upset about how last season ended. It was horrible. They were upset about a lot of things. And then all of the news about potentially trading Jalen Hurts starts swarming. And that gets the fans upset because they don't know what's going on. And then you come out and you lose a couple games to start your season. You're not looking hot. And they're upset. But the fact that this guy who is, just comes in here and he's turning this team around, there's a lot to look forward to in Philadelphia for those fans.
And in all honesty, and what we don't see as, fans, we don't see the type of people that he's changing, how he's changing the culture in the locker room. We don't know. You and I both feel that Carson Wentz is kind of cancerous. We feel like he's that type of personality in the locker room. Zach Ertz is a good ball player. We know why they made that trade, but just the shifting of players and the people that they brought in, it really looks like he's looking for a certain type of player as well as a certain talent set that player possesses. And I think that next year this division might get really tight.
Yeah, I mean, if Washington continues to grow and if the Giants ever decide to fix their issues, this division is going to get interesting, at least with 3 of the teams.
The Giants
it's already getting interesting.
The Giants may have the best roster in their division.
Yeah, they just are poor play calling, and the players are not getting conditioned enough because every single one of them are getting hurt.
It's going to be a shame if Saquon Barkley is one of those guys that's just a forgotten back that bounces around because nobody really knows how to use him in the proper way.
Kind of like who's that guy that was with the Rams and went to the Falcons? He was with the Rams like 2 years ago. He went with the Falcons last year, and the only team, Todd Gurley.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I couldn't even remember his name to tell you. He was an elite running back. It's just it's sad to see for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's jump to the next game. Start of the 4:00 games. Very good game for both teams, despite the fans taking the loss. But it was a great game. I was very happy with the outcome. Washington heads to Vegas and scrapes by with a last-second game-winning field goal and holds up. Hey, you took Vegas on this. I took Washington, so I'm fine with that.
But I've never been big on your boy, but
dude.
So you know what? This is what I was going to tell you that was going to flip your script. That game was a coin toss. The Raiders are a mess. Was that the best game that Washington could have played? Absolutely not. It was ugly.
You got to think about how good that Raiders defense is, though. When they're all playing in sync, they're scary.
But I found something with Taylor Heineke that I can get behind. And it's more about how he feels in this world as to going into these games. I went and I was doing a little reading today and a little research. coming out of college or coming out of high school, he had 1 Division I offer and 4 Division II offers, and then they didn't talk about Division III. So he goes to Old Dominion University, which is not a big school in Virginia. Goes to Old Dominion, has a decent career. His numbers in college are up there, but since he played for a small school, nobody paid him no mind. So the NFL draft comes around. He doesn't get drafted. Nobody invites him. He's not even invited to the combine, but he doesn't quit. He works his way into this league, and now he's starting. I'm telling you that the thing about him is that he's got a chip on his shoulder. He has got a winner's mentality. I look at him a lot like I look at Baker Mayfield because he's got so much emotion, but he's in check. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't play the best game, but he's that guy that just I feel like can win a ball game. But to be counted out and to follow your dream that long, he's a guy that I can get behind. Ron Rivera has got them guys playing pretty well without a lot of stars on defense. And the last 5 weeks of the season is going to be interesting in the East.
Yeah, I mean, that was what the whole thing about the playoff game last year when Heineke got the start, and they kept referring to it as a Cinderella story. He went to like the XFL. He was on the practice squad for the Panthers for a while, which I think is why Ron Rivera took interest in him, because he knows him. And he was literally in college about to take like his finals or something when they called him and asked him to play in this game. And so, he's been waiting a long time for this moment. And, he played a heck of a game in the playoffs. Look, no one knew what to expect. No one had seen him before. And, he was just if he had like 3 more plays in that game on offense, they would have beaten the Bucs in the playoffs. And so, I have so much respect for that. And, I'm so drawn to him because Alex Smith was supposed to play that game and didn't. So my eyes were on that for that alone. And he just impressed me so much for a guy that his first NFL start is a playoff game against Tom Brady. A game that really Washington had no business winning, but they got to host it because the NFC East, gets to be in the playoffs, whatever. So like, I don't know. There's just so much to like about him. Like, I just respect him. And the fact that he's grown this season with the opportunity he's gotten after Ryan Fitzpatrick's injury to continue playing and to continue growing, and the off-season work Ron Rivera put into this team. They brought more guys in, and they've all grown. Antonio Gibson's playing great. Terry McLaurin is a top 5 receiver in my opinion, and it's hard not to be drawn to this team. Like, especially the way that Ron Rivera is taking this week by week. He's making better despite what he's losing due to injury and whatever. And so, I'm happy about this win. It was a close game, but we knew it was going to be a tight game because you don't ever know which Raiders team is going to show up. They were without Darren Waller, which gave me the edge and feeling confident that Washington would win this game. And it was a good game. It was a fun game. And there was a lot of emotion from both sides of the football on both teams in this game. And I just enjoyed every minute of that by itself. I didn't get to watch the whole game because I had to share time with another 4:00 game. But I was fine with that. All right, here's on to the next. The Rams did what we told them to do. And finally, we can – I'm not getting a LaVisca Chenault jersey, but I'm fine with that because I was really concerned about this Rams team.
Yeah, I mean, to go out and do exactly what you need to do and put up 37 points against a team that's not super competitive is a step in the right direction. Now they've got it. They're tested coming up this week. I haven't even begun to thought about that game at all. But
Yeah, that's. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. The true test between both of these teams is coming next week.
But Matthew Stafford played the game that he needed to play. That was the quarterback that they needed to be, and Sony Michel gave him the running game.
Sony Michel gave him a game. We thought it was gonna be Henderson, but I kind of forgot Sony Michel was there because of how bad they've been playing.
So the wide receiver core looks pretty decent. I haven't heard any smack out of Beckham yet. He only got 5 targets, but he did get a couple receptions for a touchdown.
Did he get a touchdown? Yeah. I didn't watch this game, but I kept up with it.
I didn't either. But the thing of it is it went about how I felt it would go, and now they proved that they can do it. They played against an NFL roster, albeit close to practice squad.
They beat a college team.
Yeah, well, a little better than a college team, but anyway, now they've got to go in and we're going to see what type of team they really are next week when they go to Arizona.
Yep, that's probably my game of the week for next week to watch. I usually pick 3, but that's probably up there for me. The next, which was my shared time with Washington, was Baltimore heads to Pittsburgh, and the only time in my entire life I've said I've been happy Pittsburgh won a football game, it came in this one. And I found out why the last play of the game went the way it did. I figured it out, and I understand and respect it, but they fell short.
We'll go for it.
So this was a tight game. Honestly, Lamar Jackson did not have his best game. Their defense didn't have his best game. They did lose Marlon Humphrey for the rest of the season, pectoral injury. But they came down. Pittsburgh came back in this game because they did get down early. Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth with the 2-point conversion. That kid's a stud. They worked their way back, and then they hand the ball to Lamar Jackson with 7 points left in this, and there was 2 minutes left in the game. He drives him down, gets a touchdown, and my boy Sammy, which I'm glad he's having at least an average season there because you never know with receivers in Baltimore how it's going to go. And you think, okay, I've got the best kicker in the league. We're going to line up to tie this game and send it to overtime. No, John Harbaugh, you see him hold up the 2, and even the announcers were like, wouldn't it be so funny if they went for 2 here? He said, nah, they got the best kicker in the league. They're just going to kick this, send it to overtime. They go for 2. They had the right play. I think Lamar threw it too late. He should have thrown it quicker or waited another second. He was in between the right time to throw it. Misses, doesn't connect with Andrews, and inevitably the Steelers win by 1. I watched Harbaugh's post game because everybody in the world was going to ask him why he went for 2. He said, we were out of corners. We felt like we had a better chance to just get this game over with and win it if we can. He said, we lost Humphrey and we're getting down to nothing in the secondary. We didn't want the chance of Pittsburgh getting the ball first and having to lose that way because we're just down on guys.
Hey, you know what? I respect it. That's a numbers thing too.
Because, my instant thought was it's a numbers game. He must believe that there was a higher percentage to win this way. But he said, we just wanted to get this game over. He said, I didn't want the chance to have to put my defense on the field again.
Yeah, so, and not so much yesterday, but, I was gonna bring this up the other day, but the way that I felt the last few days, I haven't really had much time to think or talk about sports. However, the reports coming out guaranteeing that this will be Roethlisberger's last season. That's all motivational media speech to try to get this team to win games. That's all that is. Everybody knew he was going to retire at the end of the year. Everybody knew that there was no light at the end of the tunnel for next year for Roethlisberger. This was a release in the media to try to inspire these guys to go out here and win a few games for Ben and get to the playoffs. That's what kind of Coach Mike Tomlin does. He uses emotion. He uses, his head. He thinks about things and he puts it out there. And if they can sneak out a few more wins, you never know what can happen.
Which, before we go to the next game, leads me to the poll I posted in the chat before the game. I said, how many teams in the AFC North make the playoffs? 1, 2, 3, or all 4?
Looks like everybody's stuck on 2 for the most part.
Everybody's voted 2. One person's voted 1, and one person's voted all 4. And about 2 people have voted 3. And I just find the results of this post a little interesting, in my opinion, because if Baker Mayfield can get his head out of his ass, it could be all 4.
Man, I tell you what, to take all 3, you're taking a spot from Buffalo or New England. And I think
I believe that if New England wins tonight and all these other teams start outplaying Buffalo, Buffalo can fall out.
Yeah,
now, if Buffalo wins tonight, then I think it guarantees both of those teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the 67% is more the possibility right there with the 2 teams making it. But hey, we'll see. Polls are always interesting because that's a good thing.
Seeing what everybody else thinks.
That's the good thing about this channel is that when we're in here, everybody's opinion matters, and if they want to express it in any way, shape, or form, it gets talked about. I mean, and that's what that was our goal, right? To have a sports channel where we interacted with people that we didn't really know and talked about sports, and we're doing that.
Crazy to think Buffalo might not qualify. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A loss tonight could seriously shift them in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Because they play Tampa Bay next week.
Respect Harbaugh's decision to go for 2 there, but I still would have probably kicked the field goal.
Yeah, they said today, they said the statistical probability of Buffalo or Baltimore winning if they went to overtime was twice as high as it was than going on that 2-point conversion.
You know what? You're going to laugh at me, but for that 2-point conversion, honestly, with the way that Lamar's been throwing the ball, I would have let Huntley do it.
Yeah, the thing that they were talking about today, he said you could tell by the reaction of both of those teams that they both were like, okay, because Pittsburgh didn't celebrate after they got that wrong because they know that guy knew he was beat. He was beat. They just didn't connect on the pass. And
right.
So, a lot of respect to Pittsburgh for not being Pittsburgh and like shoving their noses in their face over that.
And let's not sugarcoat it at all. These 2 teams absolutely hate each other. Each other. But you know what? At the end of the day,
he knew he had been beat. You saw it on his face. He was beat. Andrews couldn't get it because if Lamar had thrown it 1 second earlier or 1 second later, not the exact time he threw it, that was in.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it was a great game. It really was. I mean, it was fun. I like watching this division play when it's not Cincinnati because I get nervous when it's Cincinnati. But when it's the other 3 playing, I love it. Those are hard-fought battles.
That's the good thing right now. Cincinnati's playing well within their own division, which might be the one thing that propels them to the playoffs over the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're leading in terms of the division in that aspect. What's up, Jeff? Welcome to the chat.
Hey, you can move it on forward to
our last 4 o'clock game, which I only got right because you reminded me of my oath to myself.
I made you stay true to yourself.
Yeah, I just forgot. I didn't even put it together when we were talking about it the other day. But Seattle hosts the 49ers. Russell Wilson's only ever lost, I think they said 2 games against the 49ers in his career, which is insane being in that division. He continues that win streak and gets the dub. They looked really good, actually. I mean, on offense. Tyler Lockett got his first touchdown since I think they said week 2. The only guy on the Seattle offense that had a bad day was that running back, Everett. He had a terrible day. He coughed up a fumble, interception. I don't know. He created a turnover.
Gerald Everett lost 2. He fumbled 2 times.
Yeah, one of them was I wasn't sure if they ruled it a fumble or an interception, and I know the other one was straight up a fumble. But their defense held on that last drive. When the 49ers were driving down the field, it was 30-23. And like 2 minutes left, they held on. They standed tall at home and got the win. They covered the spread. That was incredible. That was huge. Pete Carroll, I've never seen him move so fast and so much in this game than I have his whole career. And so it was a good game. I mean, it was a fun game. It looked like the 49ers were going to end up dominating with George Kittle alone. And but they held true and stayed strong and got that win they needed.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing of it was is that this was I made that when I made this pick, I picked this on the way that the media had been running them down, talking about how they're done. Russell Wilson's gone.
I mean,
Everybody
that
down.
might still be true.
All that stuff still may be true, but at the end of the day, star quarterbacks bring star efforts at when it's needed the most. And Russell Wilson has always been that guy. And a division game, we talked about this, where that home field advantage is so important. I just felt going into this game that Seattle had the upper hand. I didn't know that they were the better team. I still don't think they're the better team, but they put up 30 on Washington's defense. And guess what? I'm thankful for that because now Cincinnati has some good film to watch this week on how to beat that defense. And I think they exposed a few things in that defense, and it's really going to help the Bengals next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still nervous about that matchup, but I think it's going to be a good game too. Last game of the night, my favorite. Denver comes to KC on prime time. Yeah, I have a lot of issues with this game, but they covered the spread. And Dan Sorensen got not only a pick, but he also got the touchdown with it. And, that's the one guy all year I've been down on that defense. But that defense staying tall. Like the last 5 games on this 5-game win streak, they've allowed less than 12 points.
Here's my exact thoughts on Kansas City right now. They're a team that thought and they felt like they were going to be the same explosive team that they always were. The NFL has evolved to play them. They had to learn to play within themselves and play within what's giving in the offense in order to step up and play good. And now they look like a defensive minded team. They look like
the year they won the Super Bowl, the end of the season, their defense got healthy and got stronger, and that is exactly what carried them.
That now they look like a team that can win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're there yet. They've got a few more games to prove it this year, but they are on the right track. They've got the formula to win. Let's just make sure that we don't turn the ball over and we get a chance at the big game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The biggest issue, like of this whole game, if you have to put it at one place, was the offense. They only put up 22 points in that game. Hands down to the kicker. He did miss one PAT, but everything else, he did good. The defense steps up in more ways than I could ever be thankful for. Then I felt bad for Teddy. I really did. And the issue for the offense, I won't even put this on Patrick Mahomes on this game. It was the drops. All the receivers dropped everything, like everything he put in their hands, except for Darrell Williams, who had himself a receiving game.
Yeah, 3 receptions for 60 yards, got 20 yards a catch. Those are big plays.
Yeah, I mean, he came through big time. He didn't have a drop. Tyreek Hill had a drop. He coughed up an interception again. A lot of Mahomes' interceptions have been out of the hands of Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce kept dropping the ball. Byron Pringle dropped the ball, but he kept going right back to him. Every time he dropped it, he'd throw it right to him the next play. And he worked on it with him.
I want to talk about those 2 guys for a second, or 3 of them. McCole Hardman, Byron Pringle, and Demarcus Robinson. Talk about 3 good receivers that really don't get much opportunity to truly shine because of the way that team is structured. But those 3 guys are all really good, and I love watching Mahomes because he tries to get the ball to them because they're all talented after the catch. They're really good. They're all little baby Tyreek Hills in their own way.
Oh, especially McCole.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They're different players, but those guys are the type of guys that can help you say Tyreek's not having a good game in the playoffs. And I like those guys, and they take a beating, but I like all 3 of them.
Yeah, I've got no problem with any wide receiver on that team except for Josh Gordon because they signed him, and he's just – I don't even know if he's still on the team.
He played.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I didn't even see McCole Hardman until the second half, and he got his first catch.
I did not see any targets for Josh Gordon.
No, he hasn't been targeted in like 3 weeks.
And that's really hard to figure out because he's still young, and he's probably the most talented wide receiver that's on that
He's
team.
like T. Higgins. I mean, honestly, he's a big dude.
I mean, I don't know what the deal is. There's got to be a disconnect there if he's not playing or not catching. I mean, I know I saw him in the game, but
yeah, I don't know what's going on there, and that has been the biggest question mark on that offense for me since they signed him. I just don't get it. I also like some of these young guys that they're trying to get involved, like, and they're putting them on special teams right now, like Marcus Kemp.
Marcus Kemp, yeah, he got a target in the game.
He did towards the end of the game, got a target, and I know he did at least 1 or 2 kick returns.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I really want to know what Josh Gordon's problem is.
I'm literally so happy with the wide receiver core in this team, though.
Jim Passalus, they're probably here. I know that Tim is probably working and listening. Jeff's probably doing very similar things.
I know Puppet Master's working. Shelby's working.
Yeah, everybody just listens in usually on Monday night
until the football game.
That's where we really get the commentary on the games. Is where we're getting.
Okay, well, to be fair, the play-by-plays on this channel has been literally the most random thing I've ever done in my life. We talk football the whole game because, it's a play-by-play. But last week we got into, and River Rat's in here, he's just lurking. We were talking about Christmas movies, and this is if you want to talk with people, the play-by-play is the chat zone about whatever you want to talk about.
I mean, it keeps it from getting stagnant because if the game gets stagnant, you can just talk to whatever's going on in the chat, and that's what's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the conversations we've had the last couple weeks during the play-by-plays because they're so funny and so fun. And I'm so excited for this game, and which is where we're at now in our stream here is the Monday night matchup. Potentially could be game of the year, honestly. I know it's the game of the week for sure, but this could end up being game of the year. It's snowing in Buffalo, and I'm so excited. I love snow games.
Here you go. Which team can run the ball?
I'm still going with the Patriots on this one. We both took New England on our picks for the week.
Bad weather makes me
capable of running the ball. I think, honestly, this game comes down to Tre'Davious White not being there. And I hate coming back to that because he's just one guy, but that guy has been their guy until they started putting pieces around him for a long time.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at
I like the running backs for Buffalo. I like the running backs a lot. Zach Moss,
Devin Singletary.
I couldn't think of his name. I love that guy, but I couldn't think of his name. And they've got another guy that played backup, and he's really good. He's a stud when one of them was out. What's his name? They're RB3.
I don't know.
So somebody tell me who Buffalo's RB3 is.
Huh. I can't. As soon as
you say his name, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Hold on, I got it coming right now. Matt Breida.
Matt Breida, that guy. He can carry them to a win in terms of the running game. That guy deserves to be RB1.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Today's game is it's going to come down to quarterbacks not turning the ball over. It's going to come into who can run the ball. And I feel like even with the snow coming down there, I feel like that favors New England. I really do.
Yeah, Singletary, Moss, and Matt Breida. I don't know how I forgot that. He played, I've done a couple Bills games on play-by-play, and I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the Saints game. But
he had a couple really good years in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember him. I know he wasn't new, but it was one of the last couple games. Either Moss or Singletary was out. I think it was Moss, and he stepped up. He was just the guy. He just kept making plays. And if you look at Buffalo stats, you'll be able to see which game that is. I know it was in one of the ones on prime time in the last couple weeks. And he was fantastic. I'm excited for him. I like Singletary and Moss. I'm excited for all three of them, but I really hope they get Matt Breida involved. I think that'll help them turn the page and try to win this game for real.
What do you think this game's going to be?
Honestly, in my opinion, it just comes down to which quarterback's going to play more disciplined.
I think it's the one that's got the shorter leash, and I think that's going to be Mac Jones.
Yeah, but all these analysts think that this might be the game that they let Mac Jones loose. You know, when they turn that page and let Joe Burrow finally make his own decisions. And I feel like that might be they're all saying that might be this game, you know, for him. But I feel like, you know, Zach Taylor and Bill Belichick are far too different coaches, and I trust Belichick a lot more. I think he knows what he's doing with that kid.
I don't think he needs to let loose. I think he needs to keep doing what Bill tells him to do, you know, the little devil on his shoulder, so to speak, and just listen, because the man knows how to make a quarterback a star. All Mac Jones can probably think is all I got to do is do what this guy says, and I can be Tom Brady.
I mean, he already is Tom Brady.
You know what I meant. I can have the longevity. I can have continued success. All I got to do is listen to this guy.
Check down, master.
What's up, Jim? That's me.
Yeah, Jim, Ohio River is his other account, his metal detecting account. He just uses it to chat in here. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this New England game, honestly, or this Buffalo game. I said that I would put a Bills jersey on for this game, but I didn't feel like it. I couldn't decide if I wanted to wear blue or white, so I just wore black.
I just like the fact that, you know, Belichick waits till whatever he drafted at 13 or whatever to take his quarterback. He's the last one to get a quarterback in the first round, and he has the best win-loss percentage with a rookie quarterback this year.
Okay, so this just came up when I was looking for the picture that Adam Schefter posted like an hour ago. But they said that the 2021 Heisman Trophy finalists are Alabama quarterback Bryce Young, Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, which I feel like I would be so stoked if that kid won that, honestly. And then Pittsburgh QB Kenny Pickett and Ohio State QB CJ Stroud.
That's god-awful.
Here we are. There's not a lot of snow, but you can see it in the air.
Man, it reminds me of 1982 watching football games on, you know, watching the snow games, man. God, look at that.
Man, I'd give anything for it to snow in Arrowhead during one of the last Chief home games because seriously, I love watching those guys in the snow. And you know how you talked about that Freezer Bowl game that you went to, the Bengals and Chargers?
Yep.
I actually watched a thing on TV about that game yesterday.
Yeah, they put it on during the game, talking about Dan Fouts. That was the coldest I've ever been in my life. I was just a little kid. I didn't see hardly any of the ball game.
I'm sure. They said someone's coffee froze in the cup.
Yep, negative 29 degrees. 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Insane. Yeah, that's insane. That's too cold for me.
Well, what a way to get broke. You know, there was a couple years there that I didn't want to go to football games because I thought they would all be like that.
That's completely fair, though. You know, my first football game was in Kansas City in January, and I was afraid of that exact thing. And we got lucky since it was like a 3 o'clock game. It would have been our 4 o'clock games, but it was 3 there. And the sun was right above the stadium, shining right down on me. It was cold, don't get me wrong. I had a blanket on and layers on layers on layers. But that sun made me not die.
Yeah, you know, I loved you guys being at that game. That was really cool.
That was the best day of my entire life. I'm not going to lie.
So, any other comments about tonight's game? Honestly,
No, I'm just excited for it. Really, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be fun. I feel like this is. I'm scared that this is going to end up just being a one-sided game. Like I couldn't tell you which team, but like it's just going to be a one-sided
I
game.
honestly feel that if New England runs the ball well today, it's going to look like the Indianapolis game,
like against Buffalo.
Yes,
5 tutties for JT.
If they run the ball well this game, it's going to look a lot like that, because Buffalo just for some reason they couldn't stop the run game. And you know what? The Colts aren't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jonathan Taylor's a stud, and I'm not comparing New England's running back to them. But if they run the ball that way, that gives Mac Jones options in the offense, and if he has options, man, he's going to be tested. And I'm talking about Damian Harris. Damian Harris is a good running back.
Damian Harris has been really good for them this year.
So I think it really comes down to who can run the ball.
I mean, yeah, I can't disagree with you at all.
And the other thing I'm afraid of for Josh Allen is that the Patriots come in number 1 in interceptions. And with the snow being the way that it is, it's a lot easier to play defense and catch a pass than it is.
All I'm saying is I saw Kansas City go to Buffalo in a rainy environment when we all know the last 3 years, what's up, Jellicana? It's been a while. It's nice to see you. Where the Chiefs defense over the last 3 years, even though they've had 2 Super Bowls, have not been a top 10 defense at any point. And they went to Buffalo mid-season last year in the pouring rain, and Josh Allen looked horrible. And look, he's grown a little bit since last year, don't get me wrong, but he's still the same guy. He's got to make good decisions in this game.
I miss you too, Jellicana. I haven't had a chance to talk lately.
We miss you as well. It's definitely nice to see you.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about her when we started the stream. I was like, man, I haven't seen her in a little bit.
Most of our Facebook group haven't seen a lot of them. I've even been on Beige's streams, and a lot of them weren't even there.
Might be the time of year.
But I'm ready for tonight's game. You need to get some food in you before you start your coverage tonight. You got anything else today?
Well, I had me a nice PB&J before this stream started.
Well, got to say that anybody that wants to come in on Wednesday night, I believe it's at 7:00. Got the.
I was about to ask you when the next IU
basketball game is Wednesday. I believe it's 7. Let me look it up really fast.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then also next Sunday I will be in here for the 4:00 game, 4:00 Bengals game. I know you'll still be at work, but I'm gonna punk that one up and broadcast it out. I'll get all those set up this week so that they're there.
I'll make you a thumbnail if you'd like.
If you want to make the thumbnail, that'd be helpful. But I feel that game next week, the 4:00 game with the Bengals and the Niners, is going to be super.
I think this is an important game for both of these teams, to say the least.
I know we'll get into the breakdowns on Thursday, but I really feel that.
Well, we might do a different day.
Whatever. As long as I'm getting better, I don't care what I do.
I was going to ask you if you were planning on doing any kind of pregame type thing for UC. They play Alabama on December 31st.
And because that's a local area game, I may try to do something for that game. I made the short really quick the other day.
Well, I saw that it did well.
I made the short really quick the other day because I felt like it was needed. I felt like we haven't paid them enough attention, being a local team, and that they've done so well this year, and they accomplished history by making the playoff. I felt really bad about not doing anything for the team. I thought about broadcasting their game. Desmond Ritter's a stud. They got a coach there that's got the pedigree to be a good coach. I think I might do their college football run as well because I do know the team pretty well. I watch their games. I just can't believe that it's never really come up in conversation here. We're so caught up with the NFL and our college basketball.
To be fair, the NFL has been more wild than it's ever been.
Yeah, there's been a lot to do, and it's back to the amount of time that we have to be in here. Honestly,
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's getting to be my slow season at work, so I'm gonna have a lot more free time.
I like that.
I like that too. I'd rather be on here than at work.
7 o'clock. I will start the stream at 6:55 on Wednesday.
Aight. So any college basketball fans that want to hang out in a college basketball environment on It's in the Blood at 6:55, we'll be here. Hopefully your cable provider will not be a total dumpster fire this week.
You want to talk about nuts? I lost my internet once.
I watched it. It was loading. I tried to give you my Hulu login.
Yeah, but I mean, all my problems. I was just having cable issues that day, and my internet was doing the same thing. It was being I was watching my signal bar up there, and I'm hardwired, and my signal dropped out. I'm not sure why. I haven't missed a lick today.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, we got tonight at about 8:10. I started at 8 o'clock last night, but that was just because I was excited for the Chiefs. So between 8 and 8:10, I've already got it. I'm gonna go ahead and post the link in here to our next stream. So I'm gonna be doing the play-by-play of the Monday Night Football tonight, and then sometime this week, we will do a preview for the rest of the games. I should be in here on Thursday. I think it's the Vikings and the Steelers. Two teams desperate for wins. So I'll get into that one. We'll get our picks out this week. Wednesday, college basketball in here.
Straight up. Ready to roll?
Jim Pats, I dropped you a sub last night, my dude.
I'll get you back. I haven't had a chance yet. I've been in here.
But here is the link. Go Vikings. I don't even care at this point. I kind of want the Vikings to lose out so the game we go to gets flexed to prime time in week 17. I wonder who I have picked to win that game from preseason. Let me check real quick. There. Vikings versus Steelers. I have preseason picked the Vikings to win that game. Hate that I'm going to miss it. That's okay, Jeff. I still appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah, Jim, show back up in on if you hit the bell. I hit your bell, by the way. If you want to show up, if you want to promote your channel, come into my Thursday night stream. That's what it's all. I mean, that's the other part of it. It's all about community. So if you want to come in there that night and pimp your channel out a little bit, that's all good.
What's up, Kenneth? Hope the Bills win. Need the Pats to lose.
In my heart, I hope the Bills win.
Inspire all the coaches and 3 defensive players. Oh, yeah. So Jim, I forgot to tell you, is a Chief and Vikings fan.
Got it. Well, I mean, talk about your ups and downs. Honestly, the Vikings, I really think the Vikings have a lot of good things in place. I just can't. They just seem to can't put it all together.
Choke. They just choke. I don't understand. They've got a great team. Yeah. All right, so I did drop the link. I'll drop it one more time right before we close out of here. I'll be going live in just a little under an hour to start. So this is still going, huh? What is up, Wolfcat 5K? We're actually about to close down the stream, but I will be streaming with that link in like an hour. If you want to hang out with us, I haven't seen you in forever, my dude.
Oh, no, wherever he's at. I wonder if his buddy's lingering anywhere.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think he'll come back in here for a minute.
I don't think he'll come back in here until maybe next season or baseball season.
Baseball season, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about with the Cubs.
Oh yeah, half the Reds went there, so yeah. But I dropped the link. We're gonna. They need a good QB, and they'll go to a Super Bowl. They've got all the weapons.
Yeah, I think they got the right quarterback.
I just think there's something wrong. Wolfcat! He said until the Cubs win again. All right, I'm closing this down so I can go have me a snack and get something else to drink. But I'll see you guys in less than an hour. Links in the chat. And anything else? You got anything else?
I'm good, baby.
All right, my dudes. See you in a few.